Hi, welcome back to this video revision series for the primary 6 students in my class. Now we're using the mid-year 2021, our own school exam paper, and I am going through the MCQ questions. By now, you would have watched the video series on diversity, cycles, systems, and energy. This is the last one in this video revision series. We're going by themes, so this last one is on interactions. So we'll cover mainly what we have learned this year on forces, right, interactions, as well as on food chain, food web, how different organisms interact in an environment. That will be the life science bit. The forces part will be the physical science part. So as before, I'd like you to always read up on these two chapters first, on the interactions in terms of the living things, as well as on forces, before you watch the video. Along the way, do also pause the video to try it. The purpose of trying it again is to revise. Revise is always learning things again. So if you have not done so, please stop the video now. I'm going to read up the chapter on interactions first before coming back. Welcome back. So let's get started on this. Let's begin with question 8. Pause it and try it. Alright, let's start. The table shows a description of some physical factors in 4 different habitats, A, B, C, and D. Alright, now I hope you got it right because all of you got it right the first time round when you did it in the mid-year exam, so you should be able to get everything right this time. Habitats, A, B, C, D. Habitats can refer to a place that's very dry like the desert. A habitat can be a place that's very wet like the ocean. A habitat can be a place that's very cold like the Arctic or the Antarctica, or it can be a very tropical place and hot and humid place like near the equator, like in Singapore, hot and humid and wet at the same time. Now, physical factors here, remember our low facts, right? What does low facts mean? Think about physical factors: amount of light, the organisms that are in the place, the availability of water, the availability of food, air quality, temperature, as well as, what does S means? I hope you remember. Alright, let's come back to this at the end. So it lives in dark places, okay? It's found in places where the surrounding temperature is from 20 degrees Celsius to 25 degrees Celsius. Average temperature, light intensity, okay? Now, in this this is an important paragraph. It gives you the condition. This one is only found in dark places and only when the temperature ranges within these two numbers. If it's too high, it's too hot for organism Y. If it's too low, it's too cold for organism Y. And it only like dark places. So where can this place be? So between 20 and 25, that will be these two. Temperature is out and it has to be dark. So light intensity has to be low. This question tests if you're able to interpret text and table, and then of course get the correct answer out. So answer is D, right? Question 8. Answer is D only. Okay, so good job. You have gotten it right. What is S? I'll ask you when school reopens. Let's go to question 9. Pause and try this. Okay, let's start. A group of primary 6 students found the following organisms on a rotting tree trunk during a nature walk: ants, spiders, moles, and mushrooms. These two will fall under the fungi category. Alright, these two are just insects. They classify the organisms into 2 groups: decomposers and non-decomposers. So based on what you learned from your textbook, what are decomposers? You learned there are 2 kinds. The kinds that you cannot see, what are they? Yeah, those are your microorganisms. They are also your fungi. So your decomposers here will be your Now, there are no microorganisms in the organisms option given to you here. So you see mold and mushroom. Yeah, those are the only two. Now let's double check. So the other two will be ants and spiders. They are non-decomposers. Okay, so answer is 2. So for question 8, everybody got it right. Question 9, everyone got it right as well. Good. Now, question 10. Let's try this. Pause and try this. Okay, let's try. The table shows the organisms and their numbers in the pond habitat. Alright, different organisms. And now you understand, right? We talk about, there are a few new words you learned this year. Organisms. When there are many organisms and they come together, of the same organism, they form a population. And when there are several populations living together, they form a community. And the place where they live is known as the habitat. So these are a few words that you learn in this particular chapter. So, and the population includes those that are young and old. It does not include those that are dead. So if I see here, I see mosquito pupa. They belong to the same population. Right? Just like I see, so let's see how many population do we see here? Frog, yes, is 1. Mosquito, there's 2. Guppy is the 3rd one. Kingfisher, 4th one. Dragonfly, 5th one. This is part of the mosquito population, so I don't count again. Water lily, 6. Water hyacinth, 7. So there are 7 population. A is correct. What else? There's only one community. So they all live in the same place. So this is just one community. Right, this is a pond community. Right, and they all live in a pond habitat. Okay, so question 10, this is true. There are 2 species of mosquito. This is wrong. This is just adult and young. This is wrong. There are 5 populations of animals. Let's see, animals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't count this. This is plants and plants. Yes, that's true. 5 populations of animals. So A, B, D are the correct options. So answer is 4. So question 10. Okay, well done. Question 10, everyone got it right, except for one person. So this one person, try and figure out where you made your mistake. Okay, now we've gone through the life science questions for our interactions. Let's go on to the physical science one. Let's start with this. Pause and try. Okay, great. A weight is suspended on a spring as shown in the diagram below. Okay, so there's a force that's acting on the weight that pulls it down, force 2, gravitational force. And there is a force acting on the weight that is pulling it up. And that will be the elastic spring force, because the spring wants to return to its original shape. When it's being stretched, there's elastic spring force. Okay, answer is 4. Quite straightforward. And question 21. Oh, interesting. I would think that everyone would have gotten this correct, right? It seems easy. And I hope you got it right this time, because there were many of you who got it wrong. About us, many of you, 11 students. These 11 students, I hope that you didn't choose the wrong one, like 1. It's not frictional force here. Okay. Now, let's go on to the next one. Question 22. Now, for those who want to do the experiment again, you can log into your Explore Learning Simulator. There is this task that I assigned you to do before, adding weights to springs to look at the difference between extension, extended length. Okay, so you notice that these 2 springs has a different original length. Spring Y is a shorter spring in the beginning. Spring Z was a longer spring in the beginning. Beginning meaning before there was any mass added to it. See, 0 grams. Alright, so, and this person, Ting Ting, recorded the length of the spring after each weight was added. So this length that is being measured is the extended length. So we talk about spring, we talk about whether are they stiff or not. The more stiff they are, the more elastic spring force will be in the stretch or compressed spring. In this case here, it seems like they are stretched. Okay? Because every time they add the weights, the spring becomes longer. So which of the following describe springs Y and Z? The spring that is shorter at the start of the experiment. So this question tests if you can read a graph. Alright, so let me see question 22. Alright, most of you can read a graph for question 22. But 2 of you could not understand this or didn't get it right for some reason. So at the start of the experiment, this spring is a shorter spring. And that is spring Y. Okay? So answer is Y. Now the spring that is stretched less the same weight. What does less means? For example, I put 10 grams of weight here. Spring Y, this is spring Y, and this is spring Z. Spring Y is stretched by 10 cm, see? 10 to 20. Right, 10 cm. Whereas spring Z, when you put in the same mass at the end of the spring, it stretches by less than 5 cm. You can see, right? If this is 30, this is 40, 35 is here. It's probably only, I think it's just 2.5. 2.5 cm. Less. Right? It's less. So therefore, we are asked, the spring that is stretched less with the same weight will be Z. Z. Alright? So the answer for this option 22 is 1. Now, let's take a look at this question. I'll show you one more time and you come to a conclusion, right? Which of these 4 options are correct? It could be a combination of them. Right, I wouldn't show you the part here first, just figure out from this. So there are 4 weights of the same shape and size. But there is no mention whether their mass is the same or not. Right? They said the size is the same and the shape is the same. And these weights were dropped on the nails. They look like similar size nails to me. And they're all placed a little bit inside the same piece of wood. The length of the nail that went into the wood was measured. So naturally, the more force you hit the nail with, the deeper it goes. The fact that this length of nail that went in were all different tells you that the mass of these blocks are different. Gravitational force is dependent on 2 factors. What are these 2 things that will affect the amount of gravitational force? The first one is the height. As you can see, they are all at the same height. So it's not the height. So it must be the second factor, that will be the mass. Therefore, it must be clear that they are of different mass. So which nail went into the wooden block the most? There's B, right? 2.5 cm. Therefore, block B must be of the greatest mass. And the one that went the least is C. This must be of the least mass. That's the 2 conclusions I can come to based on looking at this. Let's see if that's enough to help us to get the answer. Weight C is the heaviest. No, that's not true. If weight C is the heaviest, then, oh, by the way, just in case you're confused, mass is not weight, alright? Mass is not weight. When you're on Earth, the more mass you have means the more weight you have. If you're in outer space, alright, no matter how much mass you have, your weight is still 0. But on Earth, the more mass you have, the more weight you have. The less mass you have, the less weight you have. So weight C is the heaviest is definitely wrong. Alright, because the nail only went in a little bit, the very least. Right, so therefore it's the least mass. Least mass means there will be less weight. And weight is a force. Weight D is heavier than weight A. Let's see if that's true. D, okay, this one went in more than this, right? If it went in more, means a greater force must have hit this nail compared to hitting this nail. If a greater force hit this nail, the force came from this falling block of D, therefore D must be of a greater mass than A. If D is greater mass, then D is heavier than A. This is true. The weights are made of different materials. That is true. If they are of the same shape and size, but their mass is different, therefore they must be made of different materials. Just like if you have a sponge, an iron, and a wooden block. They can be of the same shape and size, but made of different material. Of course, they are right. If you made of sponge, steel, and ceramic, for example, or wood, I mentioned wood earlier on, then of course their mass will be different. So C is correct. If they are made of the same materials, you will see that all these numbers will be the same. Weight B has the greatest gravitational potential energy. So it is true for this. Weight B, greatest gravitational potential energy. We know B here will fall and hit this with the greatest amount of gravitational force. How about GPE? So you know the potential energy is also dependent on the height and the mass. Right, height is the same, but mass is the greatest. So of course this is true, it has the greatest potential energy. Therefore the answer here would be B, C, and D. Answer is 3. Now let's go to the next question. This question. Just now the earlier question 23, was not so easy. There were 12 of you who got this question wrong, okay? So I hope you can back up. The next one, all of you got it correct. Let's see if you can get it all correct again. Identify A, B, C, and D. Pause the video and try. Okay. Now this kind, I always notice just I will pay attention to the magnets, the objects that are floating above of each other. Because this tells me these two must be magnets. Because only magnets can repel another magnet. Only magnets can repel other magnets. So I know B and C must be magnet. So I will focus on these two first. Magnet, magnet. These are the only two options with magnet, magnet. So answer is 3. Okay. Now last question for this video. Okay, I think I discussed this in class before and I often show pictures of this. You might not have played this before. I played this when I was a very young boy. Basically, it's just like shooting coins on the surface, but these are not coins. These so-called coins are actually made of plastic with a smooth surface. So if you want this carom coins to move a further distance, in other words, you want to convert more, it to have more KE, so it can travel a further distance. So what can be done? Okay, so which of these can be done? By spreading powder, you will cause the surface to be smoother, so reduce the frictional force between the carom coins and the carom board. So 1 definitely is correct. Now, a rubber band will actually increase the frictional force between the surface, which is a rubber mat, and the carom coins. This one cannot work. Paste sandpaper on the surfaces of the carom coins. Sandpaper is a very rough surface. Can I ask someone to please remind me to bring some sandpaper for you to touch? Because sandpaper you touched in school was very smooth. It was smoothened by years of use, okay? I bought new ones, but I kept forgetting to bring for you guys to see, okay? It's wrong, huh? Sandpaper is rough. That means it will increase the frictional force between the carom coins and the sandpaper. Scratch the surfaces of the carom coin. When you scratch something, you are causing it to become rougher. Just like you look at car tires, right? Car tires have many grooves. It's actually the machine causing like digging grooves and scratching the rubber tires, so it's no longer smooth. Provide a better grip means have more frictional force between the two surfaces. So this doesn't work as well. Question 25, was it well done by the girls in my class? Not so well done. 12 of you got it wrong. Okay, so let's hope you get it. You understand why the answer is 1. Okay. Alright, now that concludes the revision for this. Of course, this doesn't cover all the topics under interactions. In booklet B, that's where you see more of it. In booklet B, for example, under your life science portion will be things such as food chain and food web. So I'm going to go through this one. This one is quite straightforward. I believe most of you got this correct. Let's pause and try this now. Okay. The relationship of the organisms living in a certain habitat. That means the word living in. So based on the food web, identify the organism that eats both plants and animals. Now arrows here always means eaten by. And the first always find the producer. So P here is a producer, which is the plant. This is a producer. It is a plant. Alright. U is also a producer. U is also a plant. That's it. Those are the only producers. So which organism eat both plants and animals? Now, U is eaten by R. Right? So R is a plant eater. R is another, and Q eats P. Q is also a plant, is a plant eater. It's also a plant eater. Okay. Does Q eat any other animals? No, it does not. Q is eaten by T, eaten by S. So these two are the very fierce carnivore. These two are carnivores. Or they are animal eaters. Animal eaters. How about R? R eats plants. R also eats another animal Q. R is also eaten by another animal. This is also another carnivore. But R here is a plant and animal eater, or what is known as omnivore. So the answer here is R. Eat both plants and animals. So a disease causes all organisms R to die. Right? So there's no more R. R is gone. So this, the first one gives you 1 mark, okay? A disease causes all the R to die. How does this affect the population of Q and V? Okay. Now once I remove away R, right? R was here, right? So there's no more arrow leading to this. At first, there were 3 organisms eating Q. Organism T, S, and R eating Q. Now that there's no more R eating Q, would there be more Q? Alright, so definitely Q population will increase. How about V? This is R is the only source of food for V. V doesn't eat anything else. It's a very, very picky eater. So if R is gone and V has no more food to eat, so population will decrease. it will either die or it must migrate and go elsewhere. Okay, or I try to find some other source of food. But based on what you can see here, R is the only source of food that it has. So without R, you see, all this gone, no more. B suddenly now, no arrow, no food. So how does it affect the population of Q and B? So this kind of question you must answer for both. Huh? So population of Q increases. Okay, you must state this, okay? And explain why. How will this help population of Q to increase? Because there are fewer organisms eating Q. Right? When R is gone. That's why it will increase. So how about V? I'll answer V differently. Population, always use the word population. Population of V decreases. This kind of phrase is important, girls. You need to talk about the increase or decrease of the different populations, followed by the explanation. Why will V decrease? Because it has no more food to eat. Half mark to explain and state correctly the population changes for Q. Half mark for this. Alright. So for question, for the open-ended part, I think that's all I'll cover. I'll cover the rest when I see you back in school. Okay. You can better even still you say decrease to 0. But if you tell me it decreases, that should be great. Alright. Now there are other kind of questions, of course. We talk about okay. So I'll see you. So this is the last video series that covers forces. And let's take a look. So it's slightly longer, this video, so sorry about that. I hope it helps you so far. There may be any more questions on forces. Let's see. Interactions. Okay. I will cover the rest, right? The life science part under interaction, there are these two. So I talk about 31 already. Okay, this I will go through in class with you. I will also go through these questions in class with you. So this I wouldn't go through here in this video. So I'll see you soon. I will try to arrange for other help for you during the holidays. Have fun, relax, as well as revise. So, take care everybody. I'll see you when I see you again. Goodbye.